For a long time, the 5.56mm round held the crown when it came to semi-auto rifles. With NATO logistics backing it, affordable brass, and an endless supply of surplus magazines, it was the go-to for just about every shooter cutting their teeth on an AR platform. That quick little .22 caliber round seemed unbeatable. But the shooting world is evolving, and now folks are starting to question old habits. Why are distance shooters switching to other cartridges for ringing steel? Why are seasoned varmint hunters abandoning green tip ammo for exotic-sounding rounds? And why are die-hard, gay guys suddenly talking about ballistic coefficients like it's gospel? In this video, we're going to unpack all of that by showcasing 5 cartridges that outperform 5.56mm in the areas that really count, bucking the wind, retaining energy downrange, preserving barrel life, and yes, even in some cases, cutting costs. We'll crunch the data, share real-world hunting experiences, and figure out which of these modern options could be your next favorite setup. If you've been chasing flatter shooting, harder hitting, or quieter performance out of your AR platform, this is the breakdown you've been waiting for. So, what's knocking 5.56mm off its pedestal? It's still easy to find, light to carry, and affordable compared to many others. That's why it remains the world's top intermediate rifle cartridge. Mil-spec mags weigh next to nothing, and not long ago, you could stockpile 500 rounds for the cost of dinner. Inside 200 yards, it still handles drills just fine, but once you start cutting barrels down, stretching out past 300 yards, or introducing wind into the equation, things go sideways quick. From a 10-inch barrel, velocity takes a nosedive, and beyond 50 yards, those projectiles struggle to break up. Even from a 16-inch carbine, fragmentation fades beyond 150 yards if the impact speed drops. With its 55-grain bullet and uninspiring ballistic profile, you're looking at nearly 24 inches of wind drift at 400 yards in a 10-mile-per-hour crosswind. Modern optics and stable bipods only make that problem more obvious every time you shoot at distance. Then there's impact energy. Fragmentation, once the golden ticket in jungle warfare, is only guaranteed if the bullet is moving fast enough. Nowadays, new polymer-tipped projectiles with higher ballistic coefficients are retaining energy better and flying straighter. And don't ignore cost. 5.56 used to be the budget choice, but import restrictions, panic buys, and rising raw material costs have pushed pricing to around 60 cents per round for standard loads. Meanwhile, better performing cartridges are catching up in cost, and they bring real benefits. If spending a dime more means tighter groups, better wind calls, and a longer-lasting barrel, a lot of shooters are happy to jump ship. Let's look at 5-up and comers that are challenging 5.56mm dominance. These aren't gimmicks. Each one addresses a specific shortcoming, whether that's stability in the wind, stronger hits at range, or higher accuracy. Leading the list is the .224 Valkyrie, released by Federal in the year 2017. This round was made to squeeze maximum long-range performance from a standard AR-15 mag. It's built on a necked, down 6.8 SPC case, sized to accept sleek 90-grain bullets, and designed to push them at about 2,650 feet per second out of a 20-inch gas-operated rifle, or around 2,730 from a 24-inch bolt gun. While that velocity seems close to a 5.56, sending a 77-grain match round at 2,750 feet per second, the Valkyrie's ballistic coefficient of 0.563 tells a very different story once the wind picks up. At 1,000 yards, 5.56 will have already dropped close to 30 feet and drifted about 3 target widths with a 10-mile-per-hour cross breeze. The Valkyrie trims that drift by a full 12 inches and needs 19 inches less elevation. Recoil stays soft around 5 foot-pounds in an 8-pound setup, so following through and spotting your shots is a breeze. A full upper, bolt, and a pair of 6.8 SPC pattern mags usually run about $750. Factory ammo is holding steady at around 62 cents per shot. Sure, the round's unique 422 thousandths case. Head means you'll need a specific bolt and extractor for bolt guns. But what you get in return is a flat shooting, low recoil AR that holds its own against 6.5 Creedmoor rigs. The only downside? Ammo isn't everywhere yet, but online supplies are stable, and handloaders will find plenty of data. Suppressor owners will appreciate how clean it shoots, too. With tight groups and minimal gas blowback, the Valkyrie makes short-barreled 5.56 setups look outdated. Next up, the 22 Nosler. This one's all about raw horsepower. Developed by Nosler, it boosts performance while keeping things relatively simple. The case is the same overall length as 5.56, but with a wider body, giving you roughly 25% more powder space. Better yet, it works with your existing AR bolt face. All you need is a barrel swap and a mag designed for 6.8 SPC or 22 Nosler, and you're in business. A 55-grain ballistic tip will clock in at 3,350 feet per second from a 24-inch barrel and still hit around 2,900 from an 18-inch rifle. That puts it in the ballpark of 22-250 performance without the hassle of long-action setups or accelerated throat erosion. Keep an eye on barrel temps, and you'll see solid accuracy beyond 3,000 rounds. Compared to 5.56, the gains are obvious. A 70-grain low-drag round drops just under 18 inches at 400 yards. Compare that to M855's 26-inch drop. Wind drift is reduced by about 1/3. Load up a 77-grain custom competition bullet, and you're delivering nearly 1,500 foot-pounds of energy, roughly 30% more than a heavy 5.56 match round. That kind of energy turns heads in the Predator and Varmint game. The extra velocity does come with more recoil, but if you're already running a compensated 5.56, you probably won't even notice unless you're chasing split times. Ammo pricing varies. Top-tier match loads can hit $1.10 per shot, but hunting loads often drop into the mid-50-cent range on Nosler's own site when deals pop up. A full upper typically runs between $700 and $800, though discounted barrels are out there for budget-minded builders. As always, trade-offs exist. You won't find much spent brass laying around at your local range, and running mag dumps like a belt fed might cut barrel life short. Still, if you've ever asked yourself whether 22-250 performance can live in an AR-15, the 22 Nosler proves it can, and it does it smarter, lighter, and with less compromise. American shooters first got their hands on the Soviet-born 5.45 by 39, thanks to dusty old surplus crates packed with sealed-up spam cans of 7N6 steel core rounds made for war, not sport. That early surplus has all but vanished, but the cartridge still holds its own by doing a few things the 5.56 never quite mastered. Its case design is beautifully tapered, meaning even a dirty AK-74 will cycle magazine after magazine without a hiccup. Chamber pressure is high enough to push bullets up to around 2,950 feet per second from a standard 16-inch barrel. The projectile itself is long and needle, like known back in the Soviet-Afghan War for tumbling early in soft tissue, causing unpredictable damage. The later 7N10 improved on that design with better penetration and a more controlled yaw effect. Firing the 5.45 from a traditional AK platform feels almost like popping off a rimfire. It produces less than half the recoil impulse of a 5.56 running through a mil-spec M4. That makes rapid follow-up shots a breeze, especially inside 100 yards. Inside 150 yards, the 5.56 still hits a bit harder, but when you step beyond that distance, the slender shape of the 5.45 projectile starts to shine, retaining energy better and flying flatter. Ammo used to be dirt cheap, around 30 cents a round, but modern-day import bans and sanctions have shifted the landscape. Brass case Barnaul loads are now sitting around 55 cents, while steel case tool ammo disappears instantly if priced under 50 cents. Fortunately, companies like Palmetto State Armory have stepped in with AR pattern uppers, chambered in 5.45. That means you can slap one on your favorite lower and keep everything else familiar. You'll spend somewhere in the ballpark of $500 for a complete upper. Just keep in mind that magazines are specific to the caliber and cost more than your average government issue mag. The big drawback? Reloading is a serious headache. Most of the steel case stuff uses Berdan primers, which aren't reload friendly. And since supply is so politically sensitive, you never know when it might dry up again. But if you're the kind of shooter who cranks through rounds all weekend and wants something with light recoil and a touch of Eastern Bloc cool, 5.45 is worth a look. Just understand, it's not the most dependable long-term choice for ammo availability. Now let's roll the clock back to the year 1958. That's when the T222 Remington, better known as the Triple Deuce, made its mark. Unlike its younger sibling, the T223 Remington, the Triple Deuce never wore a military uniform. It never got mass issued, and it never had a marketing machine behind it. But back in the golden age of bench rest shooting, this cartridge earned a loyal following for one big reason: precision. Its case is slightly longer than a 223 by about 1/10 of an inch, with a generous neck and a pressure ceiling of 50,000 pounds per square inch. That translates to one thing: ultra-consistent performance. It burns powder evenly, keeps bullet jumps short, and offers plenty of room for handloaders to play with seating depth without pushing pressures into unsafe territory. Out of a 24-inch varmint barrel, it can launch 50-grain ballistic tips at over 3,500 feet per second, and push 55-grain Blitz King bullets to nearly 3,400, all while running cooler than your average 5.56. Finding a good factory rifle these days takes some effort. A clean Remington Model 700 ADL conversion typically lands between $900 and $1,000. Add a custom barrel, and you're looking at another $300. Nosler still makes new brass, but it's pricey, around $1.20 per piece. A box of factory-loaded ammo costs close to $42, which breaks down to just over $2 per shot. Vintage factory loads from Remington or Seiko are considered collector's items now and are priced accordingly. Compared to 5.56, the Triple Deuce really shines on the reloading bench. You can reuse brass cases 10 times or more, get NATO-level velocities, and print groups under half an inch with ease. But there are trade-offs. Semi-automatic rifles, chambered for it, are rare. Most magazines are single-stack, and powder charges don't go as far. It's not built for general-purpose use. This is a specialist round, perfect for taking down prairie dogs or coyotes beyond 300 yards with surgical precision. And once you experience its consistency, it's tough to go back. Let's talk about the 22 ARC. Hornady took a fresh swing at the old 22 Coyote idea after long, high ballistic coefficient bullets in 22 caliber began to gain serious traction. By necking down the 6.5 Grendel case, they carved out just enough space, roughly 30 grains of powder capacity, to push a 62-grain LVT to about 3,300 feet per second from a 24-inch barrel, all while staying fully compatible with standard Stanig pattern magazines. Even though that velocity is roughly 400 feet per second, slower than a hot 55-grain load from a 250. The projectile's streamlined design, boasting a ballistic coefficient of 0.395, means it fights the wind more effectively all the way out to 1,000 yards. Chamber pressure is capped at 52,000 pounds per square inch to keep semi-auto bolts from cracking under stress. Recoil is comparable to a 5.56 gentle and easily manageable, but the muzzle report is a bit softer, and throat temperatures stay cooler, so barrel life stretches beyond 4,500 rounds. During early field testing, a 20-inch proof research bolt gun cleanly harvested a pronghorn buck at 188 yards using an 80-grain LX. The round passed through both shoulders and exited without issue. Hornady kicked off commercial production in late 2024 with 3 distinct factory loads: the Black Series with a 75-grain LM, V-Match with a 62-grain LVT, and the Match line with an 88-grain LM. Prices sit between $27 and $32 per box of 20, about $1.35 to $1.07 per shot. If you want to run it in an AR platform, a complete upper chambered in 6 arc with a proper 1 in 7 twist barrel will set you back somewhere between $950 and $1,200. Precision bolt action rifles, like the Elevation MTR, come in at around $3,500. You'll also need to stock up on magazines built for the Grendel pattern. Yes, it's more expensive than running basic 5.56, but the return is solid, flatter trajectories, better wind resistance, and enough punch to cleanly take medium game without the bruising recoil of larger hunting rounds. For PRS style matches out east stretching out to 900 yards, the 22 ARC may become just as dominant as the 6. Dashers are out west, offering longer barrel life and more affordable components. And that brings us to the end of the list. These 5 cartridges weren't designed to replace the 5.56, they were made to fill in its blind spots. One stretches your reach without kicking harder. Another flings bullets at blistering speeds. One takes felt recoil down to rimfire levels. Another delivers vintage bench rest precision to today's varmint hunters. And the newcomer ties it all together with a high-speed, low-drag platform for competition and game alike. So the real question isn't is 5.56 outdated? It's this: what's the shortcoming you're trying to solve? And which of these calibers answers that need better than the NATO Classic? That's your mission. Now let's hear from you. Who's your new go to 22 caliber hero? Already made the switch, or still weighing the options? Drop your builds, performance goals, and range expectations down in the comments so the community can swap stories and learn something new. If this breakdown gave your build list a shake-up, smash that like button, send it to your shooting crew, and make sure you're subscribed for more no-nonsense ballistics talk. Don't forget the bell, another deep dive's already in the chamber.